Gill.
Thank you, Mr Gray, and it's a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship. I would like to thank the Right Honourable Member for Basingstoke for securing this debate, and sorry she could not be here. I know she's been a strong advocate for women and girls around the world, and we hope that the UK and all Commonwealth nations can live up to those aspirations. Mr Gray, we have heard much today about the power of the Commonwealth, its strength, its size, its diversity and vitality. We've also heard some great examples of the work and collaboration the Commonwealth fosters, from the member for Rochford and Southend East, the member for Stockport and the Right Honourable Member for Strangford through the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. Members made significant contributions on topics including promoting democracy across our Commonwealth nations, economic prosperity, human rights and connectivity. And it's wonderful that my friend, the Right Honourable Member for Strangford, even mentioned the Commonwealth Games. The past year has been another of great disruption and loss. I must start by remarking on the sad death of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. This year has been the first in 70 years that she has not been its head. During those remarkable 70 years, the Commonwealth has changed beyond recognition. Then it was made of only 7 members. Today it is 56, representing more than 2.5 billion people. Her Majesty will be remembered as a symbol of the links between our many nations. As she put it, the Commonwealth is an example of multilateralism at work. That is a poignant reminder of the significance of today's debate. This is not a cosy members' club, but an important vehicle for global cooperation and change, and that work is not yet done. I would like to take the opportunity to express my welcome to His Majesty the King, taking his seat as the new chair of the Commonwealth, who I am sure will carry on his mother's legacy with distinction. Mr Gray, I consider myself a child of the Commonwealth. To me, nothing serves as a greater reminder of our place in a global community of nations than my own family story and home. Birmingham is a Commonwealth city, and the diverse heritage of my constituents span from Pakistan to Sri Lanka, Somalia to India, from where my own family came. There are Brummies who can trace their roots to every corner of the Commonwealth. As a city, our diversity is our greatest strength, and that shone through in every moment of the Commonwealth Games this summer. The Birmingham 2022 Commonwealth Games were Britain's most successful ever, beating our previous record medals total in Glasgow 2014 by 2, were the most streamed games ever, outstripping the previous record 6-fold, and represented the character and diversity of our country and Commonwealth tremendously. Our city was proud to have hosted and celebrated a Games worthy of Her Majesty. The powerful message of inclusion and diversity that it sent to the millions watching around the world shouldn't be played down, nor the hundreds of millions in investment the Games brought to some of the most deprived patches of Birmingham, and the deepened and renewed connections across borders that we've helped forge. It is a great example of the benefits Commonwealth membership can bring. This year, Commonwealth Day has marked the 10th anniversary of its charter, which gives expression to its defining values: peace and justice, tolerance, respect and solidarity, care for our environment, and for the most vulnerable among us. His Majesty summarised it perfectly last week. He said, "In this we are blessed with the ingenuity and imagination of a third of the world's population. Our shared humanity contains an immensely precious diversity of thought, culture, tradition and experience. By listening to each other, we will find so many of the solutions that we seek. Nowhere is this more urgent or relevant than in our environment. I'm sure all members here know from our own constituencies that young people are demanding action on climate change. And across the Commonwealth, the futures of 1.5 billion people under the age of 30 will be defined by this issue. Yesterday, the Intergovernment Panel on Climate Change issued its synthesis report, which was a warning shot that we can still achieve 1.5 degrees this decade, but humanity is on thin ice. I know our Sovereign has been a committed advocate for action on climate change for many years now. On this side of the House, we share that sense of mission and common purpose, and it is why we have committed to our Green Prosperity Plan to decarbonise electricity by 2030 and phase out dirty imported energy, and legislate to ensure climate flows into every aspect of UK development policy and spending, just in the way that gender is. We recognise that this is the issue that will define this century, and we only have 7 short years to take the action needed. To its credit, the government reaffirmed its commitment to the 1.5 degrees Paris Agreement goals and nationally determined contributions at the Heads of Government meeting last year. But it is now a course, but of course now it's a matter of delivering. So can I ask the Minister, could she update members on the progress that has been made to develop an implementation plan for the call to action on living lands that was promised in Kigali last year? And if she could update the House on the progress she has made towards delivering the 11.6 billion of international climate finance that his government has promised? And does she see a greater role for networks like the Association of Commonwealth Universities in catalysing innovation and collaboration to tackle shared global challenges? I had the pleasure of meeting the ACU last year, and they have 500 universities across 50 countries, making them uniquely placed to develop international policy at scale and pace. We have great institutions. We must not forget to nurture and make use of them. Mr. Gray, I mentioned the Heads of Government meeting in Kigali last year. It was fitting that in Her Majesty's Jubilee year, this was hosted in Africa, the very continent where she became Queen 70 years ago. I was delighted to see Gabon and Togo join the Commonwealth of Nations too. Labour welcomes our newest Commonwealth siblings. Their participation shows that our association is not only based in our shared history, but in our shared aspirations for a better future too. They are both remarkable countries. Gabon, for example, is one of a few countries on Earth that absorbs more carbon than it emits, owing to its rich ecosystem. And the future of Gabon and Togo can be bright, and Commonwealth membership could help in shaping a positive path. So could the Minister say something on what efforts she's making to support Togo, along with our other Commonwealth partners like Ghana and Nigeria, from the increasing threats that they're actually facing from instability in the Sahel? It is cause for celebration that the Commonwealth continues to grow because we hold its values of human rights, democracy and inclusion dear. The eligibility criteria for Commonwealth membership, amongst other things, state that an applicant country should demonstrate commitment to democracy and democratic processes, including free and fair elections and representative legislatures, the rule of law and independence of the judiciary, good governance, including a well-trained public service and transparent public accounts, and protection of human rights, freedom of expression, and equality of opportunity. So we hope that Zimbabwe can turn a new page in its history and evidence the progress on these requirements needed to rejoin soon. I would be grateful if the Minister could provide an update on its progress and the role that the UK is playing to support that. Likewise, I'm sure members will join me in celebrating the progress made by Commonwealth countries. In recent years, India has passed legislation on maternity leave to the benefit of over 600 million women. And last year, 4 of our fellow members, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, Barbados and Singapore, repealed anti-LGBT legislation. The UK must acknowledge the legacy of discrimination and laws it helped to create in some of these countries, and we must do more to support member states wanting to lead reform. As we see the sad rollback of rights and norms in many countries around the world, the Commonwealth can provide a leading example. As every member agreed in the joint statement issued before the Human Rights Council in Geneva in 2020, the full social, economic and political participation of all is essential for democracy and sustainable development to thrive. Continued progress and practice in support of human rights, democracy and inclusion is a core Commonwealth principle, something that we must all strive to achieve. Mr. Gray, I would like to end with a few remarks on the future of the Commonwealth and the UK's role within it. Our country's ties of history, kinship and commerce in many of these countries goes very deep. Of those countries in the global south, many of them in Africa, the past few years have been an onslaught of COVID, climate, conflict, the cost of living, and it is essential that the UK plays its full part in supporting them. It is in Britain's interest to support a safer, more stable world. It is why developed countries have been rightly united in their opposition to Russia's brutal war on Ukraine, and the war has drawn many countries in the West closer together as a result. Yet at the same time, as the world's poorest countries struggle, this government has given the global south the cold shoulder. Many in the world's poorest countries look at Britain and are losing faith in us as a partner they can work with and rely on. A damaging departmental merger, promises made and repeatedly not kept, and successive cuts to aid programmes as this government diverts aid money to firefight crisis of its own making. We ignore them at our own cost. Many of these countries have rapidly growing economies and will be increasingly important in a post-Brexit and multipolar geopolitical era. Together, they are more geographically, culturally and economically diverse. Here, the Commonwealth could be one of our most important multilateral institutions, as Her Majesty the Queen said. I asked the Minister, does she think it's right that the Commonwealth only received 2 passing mentions in the integrated review refresh? Has she given any thought to improving Commonwealth operations out of London to improve and better reflect the institution's diversity and global representation? And does she agree that the UK should be playing an active and ambitious role in the shared agenda agreed upon in Kigali last year? And does she share my concern at the disproportionate impact of the aid cuts on Commonwealth partners in the past few years? In conclusion, there is so much to be proud of in our Commonwealth membership and Commonwealth relationships, and it is crucial to our mutual interest in relation to development, to trade, security, climate change and human rights and democracy. It is a great institution that has at times been neglected when it needed to be nurtured. The past few years is a prime example of that. I hope that the government will act to correct its course. Labour certainly would. Thank you.